Cast your memory back 30 years to October 1995. What, if anything, do you remember of where you were and what you were doing? The world has changed greatly since then. The internet has infiltrated our lives. The globe has been shaken by 9/11. A great recession has come and gone. We've endured a pandemic. Being positive, we can remember the spectacular London Olympics of 2012 and the acceptance of the 1998 Good Friday Agreement, an intervention supported by people seeking stability, peace and security. Here on the stunning Causeway coast of Northern Ireland, blessed by the presence of 40,000 hexagonal columns of basalt rock 60 million years old, something vibrant was on the brink of coming to life. On October 4th, 1995, with the encouragement of a U3a group from Foyle and at the behest of the late Ray Morrison, Causeway u3a held its first meeting in Coleraine Leisure Centre. Its nucleus of founders that day being led by Brian Call, from whom you'll hear shortly. Though small in number, they were blessed with abundant vision and commitment. The rest is history, as the organisation prospered over the 30 years that have followed. Over the years, we formed working partnerships with Causeway School of Music, with Flowerfield Arts Centre in Portstewart, and with Ulster University at Coleraine, who have opened lecture theatres, sports halls, and other facilities to our members. Today's occasion is proof of that partnership and its ethos. Here we are, celebrating our 30th year of life in the heart of the university campus. Our annual continental holiday, as well as increasingly regular trips within the province and forays across the Irish Sea, have enhanced and widened members' horizons. Here are several of our members to tell their tales. What they say shows something of that greater evolving journey, the one which for 30 years we've been charting.
My good friend and colleague Ray Morrison invited me to preside over the official opening of the Causeway u3a on the 4th of October 1995 in the Coleraine Leisure Centre. At the time, I was Director of Student Services at Ulster University, and I was intrigued by this great initiative in lifelong learning. The meeting included the original 8 members of the Causeway u3a and supporters from the Foyle u3a and financial advisors from the First Trust Bank. All the groundwork, the subsequent election of the first committee and the efforts to expand membership were led by Ray Morrison, and we all owe a great debt to her for her indefatigable efforts. Over the years since then, I've benefited enormously from membership of 11 group activities, would you believe, at the last count. Mostly my involvement has reflected my personal desire to widen my knowledge. I was an active member of the original Current Affairs group. For several years, I've loved my involvement in 2 reading groups, the first excellently led by Liz Hanlon, and the current one ably chaired by Marlene Reid. The culture group organised some enjoyable meals and theatre visits, and Deborah Shorley's outstanding history of art expanded our horizons and gave us a thirst to explore more. Several other attendances at activities have been brief but enjoyable, like wine tasting, gardening and environment, creative writing, bridge, Vini's Objects and Stories group, which was great fun all the time. My more formal involvement in organising activities have included being a speaker at the astronomy group, which I still attend and enjoy, and being a co-organiser and convener of 2 u3a seminars on hearing loss, wearing the hat of a trustee with the Royal National Institute for People Who Are Deaf, or have hearing loss or tinnitus. Most fundamental of all, I've benefited from great friendships that have been formed either within a monthly meeting or indeed sometimes developing into highly valued relationships outside the meeting rooms. In terms of health benefits, as an octogenarian, I feel that active curiosity, fed in abundance by our u3a, is such a crucial ingredient.
My name is Sheila Duffy, and I joined u3a in the late 90s. I was invited to join committee in 2007, and committee meetings were held in Portstewart Golf Club. As a member of Portstewart and past lady captain, my role was to liaise with Golf Council management and to contact the monthly speakers, to meet and greet. This was a role I thoroughly enjoyed. Over the past 30 years, I have taken part in various activities. At present, I'm very much enjoying the ever-popular bridge and backgammon. I've found the u3a a wonderful organisation, and here's to many more successful years.
My name's Stuart Pollard. I've been a member of Causeway u3a for 20 years now. I was lucky enough to be able to take early retirement, and with hindsight, it is hindsight, I don't think I planned this, I did three things right. A whole bunch of us retired at the same time from DuPont down in Derry, and we formed a little club, which we called Club Real, Retirees Enjoying Another Life. So I didn't lose all the contacts of people that I'd worked with for a long time, and that social life is still going on. In fact, we had our 20-year anniversary lunch just before Christmas. So that was one thing. Secondly, because I was quite young, I did a little bit of part-time work. My main client was Western Education and Library Board. So I didn't just stop working on the Friday and bang, completely retired on the Monday. But the third thing, probably the most important thing, was I joined the u3a, and that has really made a big difference. So those are the three things that I think I did right. Now, I have got quite heavily involved in u3a, not just as an ordinary member, but I found myself sort of sucked into it at a higher level, both on the regional committee and at the national level. I was the Northern Ireland Regional Trustee on the National Executive Board of the Third Age Trust for 3 years. And that was a really interesting experience. You got to see the wider u3a. You also got to see the responsibilities that are involved, because the Third Age Trust is quite a large organisation with a budget well over £1 million. So you were both a trustee and actually a director of a limited company. But for me, that gave lots of opportunities for interesting things. I got to the House of Commons, I got to Arthanuchteren, I got all sorts of visits to different u3as across the country. One of the things that I saw there was that each u3a is different. It's, in its own way, it's a unique little organisation as part of a much bigger organisation. They're all different, but in another way, they're all the same. People coming together, enjoying themselves, having a good social life, learning new skills.
I joined u3a in 2019, and I got information about a Zoom, art class on Zoom. Now, art is another thing that I wanted to take up once it stopped working, you know, these things, your ambitions that you have when you retire. So it was going to be online, so I signed up for that. And, you know, it was terrific. Brendan Mullen, he's the treasurer, and he'd organised this for a lot of the groups over COVID. It was so professionally done. I just, you know, I couldn't believe it for a voluntary organisation. That was one of the appeals of joining u3a in the first place, the fact it was community run and it was non-denominational and non-political. That sort of appealed to me. So really enjoyed that, the class, the people were very friendly, and actually I learnt a lot from it. The tutor's great. I finally did get in, when everything went back to normal, I got into a different art class from the one that was online, and I'm now group leader of it. They're a great bunch of people. We have a great tutor. And, you know, it's really good the way there's a balance between what you're learning and the social side of it. I think that's something that makes U3A events stand out. So that was all good. Later on then I joined, I'm in the walking group, where I get my fresh air and exercise, in the reading group, and the Pilates as well. The benefits really, like there's such a fantastic choice, and it's right on my doorstep, and it's very affordable, like what's not to like? If it wasn't for the voluntary activity behind the scenes, like we wouldn't have that. Other benefits, like, well, when you retire, don't they say there's all those things you should do. You should get your fresh air and exercise. You should keep connected. You should learn a new thing. You should set yourself goals, you know, challenge yourself. U3A does that for me. And nothing ever starts before 10 o'clock. What more could you want? So I'm planning to hang in for, let's hope, another 30 years.
My wife and I retired at the end of 2018, and we relocated to Port Stewart in June 2019. When we moved here, we didn't know anyone in the local area, and we were looking for ways to meet people and to get involved in local activities. My wife saw an advertisement for the annual U3A activity fair in the Lodge Hotel, and I was persuaded to go along. A little bit reluctantly, I have to admit, but we arrived in and we were amazed when we stepped into the room, the number of people who were there, the range of activities that were on offer. We really were astonished. So we probably spent an hour there, and we went round each of the various tables. We signed up to a range of activities there and then, and we've been active members ever since. Initially, we got involved in mainly physically active groups. I joined the running group, and we both went on the rambling group. Over time, we expanded that, and Barbara, my wife, she joined Tai Chi and gardening. I joined the tennis and badminton groups and the golfing society. So we later then learned to play bridge, which it was something that we had wanted to do in our retirement, and the Causeway u3a offer the opportunity for people like us who were complete beginners, which was absolutely wonderful. I have benefited from remaining physically active, and we've both benefited in terms of mental health benefits from having a great and supportive friendship circle. One of the things that stand out for me is the way the U3A through online bridge was able to keep us connected during COVID when we were so restricted in the activities that we could do. I would say that the U3A for us has enriched our retirement and enabled us to build a circle of friends and interests that we otherwise wouldn't have had.
Hi, my name's Cleona Ray, and I'm very happy to be here at this celebration of the U3A. I'm really a ring-in, I think they call them. I came from 40 years in Australia, visiting my Auntie Nora Sloan, who was both a matriarch of golf and bridge and U3A. And so I thank God for Auntie Nora's advice saying if you want to meet anybody, join the U3A. I'd never heard of it, and I'm very glad I did. And it's been wonderful for me to be able to meet people coming in as a stranger, and to meet people with common interests, people with open hearts, and right across the community, generosity and friendship. I have been on the holidays in the U3A, my goodness me, holidays I would never have gone on if it hadn't been for the U3A and the wonderful Mike Jones, who for years ran the holidays and organised us and coaxed us and trained us and cajoled us and made sure we all had a great time. The holidays were marvellous. I followed Judith, maybe, and Stuart. I have to say, by accident really, Gordon Ward said to me one year, would you help me with the Christmas party? And I said, what do you want me to do? He said, take the names. I said, okay. And then the following week he said, forgot to tell you, if you're taking the names for the Christmas party, you have to be on the committee. So you're on the committee. So here I am on the committee. And I love the bridge. I've learnt the bridge, even though Auntie Nora said, don't worry about lessons from Tom McKeever, just go and play. So I'm very lucky that I have Stuart Pollard as a partner, and he guides me most of the time. But Wednesday afternoons are wonderful days in Portstewart. Mind you, you could play golf any day of the week in Portstewart if you like. But there's conviviality, social intermixing, friendship, support, generosity, all kinds of things. The u3a is just the living emblem, the living symbol of cross-communication, generosity, community, and I wish Northern Ireland in general was like the u3a. We should make it spread everywhere.
Thanks to our members for those contributions. Individual faces, particular pieces of the greater 30-year chapter of the Causeway u3a narrative. A tale of collective advance. We were blessed at the outset by those inspired to name us Causeway u3a. The perfect metaphor. Our causeway has proved a more than solid foundation across which to venture, a pathway broad enough to advance us side by side, as from it we view the journey we've taken. A landscape known, but where will that causeway take us now? The evolution of our causeway depends not on giants, but on ourselves. From our ever-developing world, we'll derive new activities, fresh interests, opportunities for groups to form, which will add exciting directions to our journey. Being part of that depends on volunteer members, the DNA of who we are.